Order. Order. We now come to the 10-minute rule motion. Dr. Luke Evans.
I beg to move that leave be given to bring in a bill to require advertisers, broadcasters and publishers to display a logo in cases where an image of the human body or body part has been digitally altered in its proportions and for connected purposes. Madam Deputy Speaker, when I was 15 years old, I saved up all my pocket money to buy a multi-gym, with two goals in mind. The first, to improve my rugby. The second, to aspire to the physiques that I saw in the media, the likes of the Hoff in Baywatch. Now, whilst I spent hours working out, it definitely helped my rugby. I don't think I ever made the grade, though, of a beach body Adonis. But the point is simply this. If my studies hadn't got in the way, if I hadn't had outside interests that caught my eye, perhaps with the right diet, a perfect training regime, and being paid to do so, I might, just might, have been able to emulate them. At least it was physically possible. However, here today, 20 years on, things have changed. With the click of a mouse, you can have bigger biceps. With a swipe of a thumb, you can have a slimmer waist. We're therefore creating a digitally warped reality, striving for bodies that can never be achieved. And that's what I want to draw the House's attention to today. Over the next few minutes, I'll set out the scale of the problem, what this bill's intended to do, and why the government and the House should support it. Now, before entering the House, I was a GP. I saw many patients suffering from lower self-esteem, concerns over their body image. Patients would come in desperate for diet solutions or a prescription for build-up drinks to make them get bigger. This was often tied up with anxiety and depression, and at worst, anorexia, bulimia, or steroid abuse. Currently, it's estimated that there are about 1.25 million people suffering with anorexia and bulimia in the UK, and 1 million people using steroids or image-enhancing drugs. A survey of over 6,000 people carried out last year by the Health Foundation found that 1 in 5 adults and 1 in 3 teenagers felt shame about their body. Lauren Goodyear, a celebrity, has spoken out about her anxiety when it comes to posting pictures of her body in social media, and Spencer Matthews from Made in Chelsea fame has spoken candidly about his concerns about needing to bulk up and turning to steroids to do so. Now, it's only human to want to compare ourselves to one another. Our house, our car, our clothes, and possibly the oldest of them all, what we look like. Research carried out by the Florida House experiment showed that 87% of women and 65% of men compare themselves to pictures in the media. But what if what's shown in the media is not actually present in reality? And here lies the problem. We, society, are creating an unrealistic and unachievable aspiration. Now, this very specific bill is a small step to try and address that problem. Requiring advertisers, broadcasters and publishers to have a logo is a way of drawing viewers' attention to the fact that all is not as it seems. It is not a call to ban. It is a call to inform. I don't want to stop people from removing red eyes on wedding photos or filters to enhance the lighting, but where the body proportions have been fundamentally changed, the viewer should know. This is a call for honest advertising, and we have a precedent for it already. We have the P in product placement. We have disclaimers on political adverts, and we have not actual game footage on adverts for video games. This is simply a translation of current practice into the digital world of body image. Now, there are some detractors here that will argue, well, this is the nanny state in action. This bill does not ban changes. It empowers the individual. It gives the individual choice. Free marketeers will know that a perfect market needs perfect information, and this is a step towards it. We do this with physical health, in labelling for tobacco and on food. It's giving people choice. So if you believe in parity of esteem between mental and physical health, this is drawing the two in line. Now, the second set of detractors say, well, that's all very well, but practically, how can it be applied? Well, firstly, across the world, there are already countries with similar laws in place, most notably Israel and France. Israel has the Photoshop law that explicitly states any airbrushing or editing on adverts must be labelled or face a fine. And similar, in France, it has legislation to display photographic retouched on edited images, or again face a fine. Well, here in the UK, we have the Advertising Standards Authority, the ASA, to regulate and enforce. The ASA covers traditional media, but also online media. In meetings with the ASA and the likes of Facebook and Instagram, they're all keen to stress how they proactively adhere to the ASA guidelines and indeed the law. Facebook already differentiates between content added organically, i.e. by a member of the public, and content added for commercial use. The latter is actively monitored and held to a higher set of standards and rules when publishing their content. Platforms like Facebook for advertisers have algorithms to search for accounts using platform for commercial activity. Therefore, it stands, if the law changes, the enforcement and adherence remains the same. But the big question, what about social influencers? Well, this is a grey area. I've already mentioned the likes of Facebook automatically search for signs of commercial activity, and the industry is actively trying to determine how to define social influencers, as clearly having 100 followers versus 100,000 followers is distinct and tangible difference. Now, this bill will not answer that question. But neither does it have to. After all, that's beyond the scope of this legislation and already being worked on by the industry itself, the ASA, and the Competitions and Markets Authority. In short, the industry draws a distinction between commercial and organic. The only question is, at what level? So building on the above and in conjunction, one further solution is to have a click button declaration on uploading the photo to ask the user if the image has had its body proportions changed. If so, a logo is automatically applied. Now, we already have a similar process when you're asked to declare the copyright when you upload an image. Why couldn't this apply here? Madam Deputy Speaker, the UK has a strong and proven track record of self-regulation under the ASA, working within a legal framework. I see no reason why this would change under this bill. So why should the Government and the House support this bill? I'm glad to see and thank the Minister for being here today. Ironically, my post about the subject organically has reached almost 500,000 people. There have been multiple stories in the national media about this topic, and a big debate's been started since mentioning this law. Charities like Girl Guiding have come out in support of the cause. After all, research shows that 88% of girls between the age of 11 and 21 want images to be labelled. It commands support from across the House. And I'm hugely grateful to the chairs of the Health Select Committee, the chair for DCMS Select Committee, and the chair of the Women and Equality Select Committee, all for seeing in the value of this bill and supporting it. Finally, Madam Deputy Speaker, what do I hope to gain from this bill? Well, I actually hope I'll never see this logo, as advertisers, broadcasters and publishers don't feel the need to fundamentally alter the proportions. But if they do, they are honest about it. I hope that those who are social influencers won't feel the need to change their images. And anecdotally, already, there are reports in the press that the bill would change habits. But as someone who got married last year, I hope to be a father in the next year or two. So if this bill is a small step to mean my daughter is less likely to worry about her diet, or my son is less concerned about building muscle to an aspiration that simply can't be possible, then I will rest a little bit easier. I commend this bill to the House.
The question is that the honourable member have leave to bring in the bill. As many as are of that opinion say aye.
Aye.
Of the contrary, no. I think the ayes have it. The ayes have it. Who will prepare and bring in the bill?
Jeremy Hunt, Caroline Noakes, Julian Knight, Dean Russell, Simon Jupp, Neil Hanvey, Sarah Owen, Chris Elmore, Dr. Lisa Cameron, Jim Shannon, Weira Hobhouse, and myself, Madam Deputy Speaker.
Dr. Luke Evans.
Digitally Altered Body Images Bill.
Second reading what day?
Friday, 16th of October.
Friday, 16th of October.